Aloha! You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 211. This episode is sponsored by the Tiki Bar T-Shirt Club, where their monthly T-shirt designs pay tribute to a Polynesian bar or restaurant from days long past. Each design is available for a limited time and will never be produced again. For the collectors out there, be sure to check out their subscription program, where they offer a discounted 3, 6, or 12-month plan, or you can always buy shirts one at a time. For more information and to check out this month's shirt, visit tikibartshirtclub.com. This podcast is sponsored by Frogtown Brewery, an independent craft brewery and tap room located in Northeast Los Angeles. Stop in and enjoy one of their excellent beers from their ever-changing, diverse menu. Tell them that Inside the Desert Oasis Room sent you and get your first pint on us. Limitations apply. For more information, go to frogtownbrewery.com and follow them on social media at Frogtown Brewery. Today we chat with bartender mixologist Sonny Esponda. Sonny is the winner of the first ever Tropical Shakedown cocktail competition, which earned him a trip to this year's Tiki Oasis. On this episode, we chat on all topics cocktails, mixology, the hospitality and service industry, and more. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. If you'd like to follow our adventures, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PolynesianPop, where we chronicle events, bars, travel spots, cocktail tutorials, and more. And if you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/PolynesianPop, where membership grants you early access to podcasts and videos, front-of-the-line privileges to new merch releases, as well as exclusive content, meetups, and screen credits. Alrighty, let's get into this. Grab a cocktail and join us inside the Desert Oasis Room. And give it up for my friend, Sonny Esponda.
Inside the Desert Oasis Room.
All right, we are rolling. What's happening, Sonny?
Yo, how we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Chilling, vibing with the weekend, trying to just relax, do my thing on the grind.
I love it, staying busy.
Always, you got to.
I'm excited to have you inside the Desert Oasis Room now.
Thank you.
So for our listeners that don't know, I met Sonny at Tropical Shakedown. He was one of the contestants in this Don Papa rum competition where you guys were competing for a spot and a trip at Tiki Oasis.
Yes.
And how many people were in that?
There were about 5 or 6 all day, I believe. So 5 or 6 people.
I thought there was
total.
more than that.
Because there is... No, well, when you were entering the ingredients for the... Before you got into it, there was like a bunch of people to get picked.
There was a bigger competition then. So this
the
was
first round.
This was the finals, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't get to go to the first one. I actually didn't even know about it. I was just there for the finals.
The first one, so what I was told was it was picked amongst them, I don't know, the ambassadors or the higher ups and the Dope Pop Rum Company.
Gotcha.
But I did know that it got sent to people in New York and people all over.
All right.
And that they picked you, and then once you made the final contestants, you were going to the final round, basically. And there at the final round was about 6 people, I believe.
Right. So your cocktail was damn good.
Thank you. You know, it's funny that you say that because I was telling my business partner that I felt like we didn't even perfect it yet at that.
Well, so I'll say this. It was okay. How do I say this without, it was perfect at Tiki Oasis. Like you fine-tuned it.
Yes. Oh, my friend. It's funny because it sold out right after because we had it at my restaurant, restaurant I work at.
Yeah.
And it sold out, but I was still saying, it could be better. So when I had to make it for Tiki Oasis, I was like, all right, this has to be like next level.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it was the same cocktail, but it was like finely tuned, you know. So let's talk about the competition real quick, because there were some really good cocktails there, right? This was for Don Papa. Everybody was using Don Papa cocktails. The idea was that you were going to present their brand or their product in such a way that, you know, does the cocktail enhance the rum? Can you taste it in the drink and all that kind of stuff? And then also, you know, it was presentation and it was creativity and all that kind of stuff, right? The things that we would normally expect from craft mixologists. And there were some really good cocktails there. A lot of cocktails there with the Filipino flavors, with the ube and that sort of thing. And they were all really good. But what made yours really just stand out was the extra detail that you put into it, right? The story, all of the extra elements that were kind of handmade by you, right? Like the little potion jar with the bitters in it, which was made like an optional thing for you. If you wanted to add the bitters, you could. If you didn't, you didn't have to. But it also added to the presentation, right? The way that it was tied and hung on the side of the glass, the way you cut the banana leaf with the little, was it like a gecko?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had a gecko on there, and then everything else, right? The whipped cream and the coconut and everything else, right? So it just was a step above everybody else's, and which was kind of like, here's the thing. It was a close competition. It would have been really tough to pick one if not for one that really stood out, which was yours, right? And I especially love the background story and the little thing that you wrote up that you handed out to all the judges. So for those who don't know, I was one of the judges, so that's how I was able to experience all of this. And the way that you presented it too, the way that you when you presented the drink and served the drink and you presented the story and all of that kind of stuff, you just had that extra step that the others didn't have. So really good cocktail. We got to enjoy that also at Tiki Oasis. I don't know how many I had.
No, I did all the math, because it should have been about 120. But it's funny because I forgot that we were serving it morning and night.
Okay.
So by the morning, I made probably like maybe 3-4 gallons of it.
Okay.
And I was already down to like the last of it towards the end of the night.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I gave yours in the day. So you got, because if I didn't see you in the day, you probably would have never got it in the night, because it was just so popular. And I think what made it popular was the whipped cream. The whipped cream.
Oh yeah.
So I also put cacao, unsweetened cacao. So the unsweetened cacao mixes well with the whipped cream because it kind of dulls down the whipped cream, so it's not so sweet.
Okay.
And it's kind of like this, because when you start eating the whipped cream, it has like this bitter palate on your tongue. Like you feel like this thickness on it, but it's sweet when it comes in. And I made about 3-4 gallons, and I was telling my other bartender, I was like, damn, like I think we're gonna sell out tonight. Like I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this. And I literally had to start skimping it little by little, because
I was just start
going
serving
out.
smaller portions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, but yeah, I got a lot of comments on that. You know, a lot of people were really impressed with the cocktail, and I was like, yeah, this is what won, you know? But then you have we had some of our other competitors there as well, right? Which is really great about this competition, was all the camaraderie. You know, like this morning, I don't know if it was this morning or it was yesterday, but Addie Alonso was commenting, and she was saying that she wanted a rematch.
A rematch for the Tropical Shakedown.
Yeah, because I told her, oh yeah, I said, hey, I'd love to have you here. So she commented on a video that I recorded with our friends Los Pacalolos, which is a surf band, and we recorded a podcast and some YouTube stuff and some Patreon stuff here over the weekend, and I did an Instagram live during one of our breaks, and Addie commented on there like, you know, something, and I said, oh yeah, I still want to have you on the show. Her and Crystal, right? They were both competitors in Tropical Shakedown. And she said, yeah, I'd love that. And I said, oh yeah, by the way, Sonny's coming tomorrow. And she said, tell him I want a rematch.
No, like, it was funny because after I won that night, my mentor was telling me, you know, now that since I've won and that everyone's seen what I did, everyone's gonna bring it to the next level. Cause
they all said something.
Yeah,
they've all said, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna do next time," or "Oh yeah, I learned a lot from this one." They all said that. Addie told me that. Crystal told me that. Dane told me that. They all said, "Oh yeah, I learned a lot from this one. Next time, I know what I'm gonna do."
No, Ed, it's funny because I feel like I'm very competitive as well. But also know that sometimes you gotta like take a step back and really analyze everything, see everything, and be ready for the next one because you can never get comfortable. Because one of my goals is to be one of the most innovative and best bartenders in the world and really change the game, and bring a whole new thing to it. And you know you got to keep evolving in it. For me personally. And just knowing that what I did inspired others to do their own thing and make their own cocktails their own way is going to make the game even better because now I have to elevate it to another level to make sure I win again.
How long have you been bartending?
So I started bartending right at 21. I'm 24 now. And it's funny because I've never worked in a tiki bar.
Yeah.
I've only worked at 2 bars.
Yeah.
But what made me different was I was able to absorb everything. I've worked with every type of bartender, from army bartenders to tiki bartenders to whiskey bartenders to nightclub bartenders. So I was able to learn and digest everything really fast, and I fell in love with it. So,
and you have really 3 years is really just a blip. Like you haven't really been bartending that long, and you're already like your A game is out there, you know. So what you're doing now is you're creating these cocktails that's making people notice, and you're making them better because they're trying to keep up with you.
Yeah.
Right? So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. And I also owe it to my dad because I've only been bartending for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But I've been working at restaurants since I was 12.
Okay.
You know, and I remember first working. So this is back in the day when they didn't have cameras, and I would actually go in to work with my dad at Supermex.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was funny because
I love Supermex.
I think it's the best. Like if you're trying to find fast Mexican food,
I love it.
Not gonna lie, it's pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And I remember just going behind the bar and like making virgin mango smoothies, and because I worked at the one in Irvine. And it was funny.
That's the one I would eat at because I used to work in Irvine.
Really?
Yeah. You guys would serve the full-size tortillas.
Yeah.
Yeah, for nachos, they were full-size tortillas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a small world because my dad would take me to go work over there. And it's funny when we make our tips, I would use my tip money to buy fireworks. Because you're a kid, you don't know. You get me?
Yeah.
So, and then I started working at an official restaurant, actually getting a paycheck at 18.
Okay.
And I started as a host. Funny story was my first day I was bussing and I had no non-slips. I had no pants. I had to wear these really baggy slacks and these dress shoes that had no grip. So I'm slipping, bussing everywhere and bussing the plates, and I'm slipping everywhere coming into the kitchen. The GM ends up loving me. I worked at Bobo Kitchen Rooftop in Long Beach on Pine.
Okay.
And she asked me, do you want to be a dishwasher for 5 days or host for 2 days? And I was like, well, I'll host because I wanted to be friend of the house.
Right.
And then she told me, okay, you start this day, that day. And I get to the host tent. I remember seeing the bar for the first time. And it was one of the best bartenders that worked there. And I see him double shaking. And I was like, wow, like one day I'm going to do that. So from 18 to 21, I grinded all those years just going up the hierarchy, basically: host, busser, food runner, server, and then
climbing the ladder to get behind the bar.
And I was supposed to become a supervisor / manager, but I took too long to say yes. So months passed. I became a fine dining server. And then they text me one day. They're like, "Oh, you want to bartend? Are you ready?" They asked me.
Yeah.
And what I learned from my first mistake was not taking the opportunity right away.
Okay.
So I was like, yes. Even though I didn't know anything. I did not know nothing. I didn't even know that mojito came with rum. I thought it came with tequila.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When I first started bartending.
Yeah.
And I just remember saying yes, and then it was just from there. At 21, it became my life.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know where to start now. So I got a bunch of questions for you in that regard. So did you start as a barback? Did you go right into bartending?
Barbacking is the only thing I have never done in front of the house.
Okay.
So, but I bussed and I served. So I knew kind of, how it works to clean, refill ice. But I didn't know how syrups and garnishing work like that. So, and I told them that I knew already.
Right.
So when I never, huh?
Fake it till you make it.
No, I mean, look, I'm not saying you gotta lie, but I'm just saying if the opportunity comes.
Hey man, so that's what I do. Fake it till you make it. Right. Like when I started this, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about any of this. I learned along the way. And if you listen to those old episodes, they're kind of cringy, but they're out there. And then, same thing with the YouTube when I started doing the videos. Same thing, learning about gear, learning about editing, learning about whatever, working with brands, working with clients, working with technology, So yeah, fake it till you make it, Sometimes that's just how it is. It's like a lot of the jobs in the world today are not taught in schools. Like, here's the thing though about like bartending, and this is a weird thing about bartending. Let me ask you this because there is bartending school.
There is.
Right? What are your thoughts about that?
I was speaking to a coworker of mine a few nights ago. He was like, yeah, I went to bartending school, and I asked him, did you learn anything? He was like, I learned jack shit. And I was just like, I feel you, dog, because I look at the videos, I look at like the YouTube videos, and I consider myself a very like high-end craft bartender.
Sure.
So, I'm staying away from the sweet and sour mixes. I'm staying away from all that fake stuff. And then even like the spouts that they use ain't really good spouts. And just seeing that, I just feel that if you go to bartending school, I don't think you should go. I think it's something that.
So here's why I'm asking.
Okay.
And I don't mean to interrupt you.
Okay.
But so you're a new kid coming up in the bar. You didn't even learn by bar backing first, right? No. They just threw you behind the bar. You start learning by making cocktails, making drinks, and all that stuff, right? Like when you look at this world that we're in with these craft cocktail bartenders or quote unquote mixologists, it's almost like how would I say this? Like one of these like gourmet chefs. And they're celebrated for where they went to school.
Yes.
So-and-so went to the Cordon Bleu and he studied under this person and that person, and he worked his way through this, and he has a master's in culinary arts. But if you do the same with bartenders, he went to, the so-and-so bartending school. Everybody's like, nah.
No, that's hilarious. I mean? It's funny that you say that because
they don't want you trained in a school. They want you training in the bar, but that would never fly in the kitchen. And they don't want you learning in the kitchen. They want you coming into the kitchen knowing something, right? So, the best restaurants would never just pull some kid and say, all right, we're going to teach you. You know what I mean? Yeah. They'll send you to culinary school. Like Gordon Ramsay pays his, competitors on MasterChef to send them to culinary school to learn, right? But you can't do that with bartenders. Why is that? Why is it different? I'm just curious because like there's a lot of differences in that. Not even just that. Like we have all of these celebrated chefs. Like you can probably name, 4 or 5 of them. Like I named Gordon Ramsay,
Marco Pierre White, Anthony Bourdain.
You could name a few of them, right?
Fraser.
We know a few. We know the ones that are on Iron Chef. We know the ones that are on Chef's Table. We know all the different shows, Robert Irvine and all that kind of stuff. But you can't name the same amount in bartenders. We can because we're craft cocktail people, right? So we can name our people, right? But they're all really kind of known just locally. There's only a few that maybe not even known so much nationally, right? It's like it's a whole different world. But if I walked into your restaurant, they coexist.
you have your gourmet chef in the back, you got your craft bartender in the front, you being one of them. Like you coexist to run that business and make it successful. But there's a whole different culture and attitude, you know? So I don't know, like why is that? I still don't know. I can't figure it out.
I'm going to tell you this because I talk about what you just said. I've been talking about this since I started working at the Socialist, which is my current job right now. That job really helped me learning how to work under a lot of pressure, and it helped me find myself in the bar. Not speaking at that bar, I'm talking about I'm speaking in general, because I say, so I'm a little crazy sometimes. I really think out there. I think very outside the box.
All right.
First thing is going into that question. What I think is that culinary just has been elevated so high that they kind of forgot about the bar, you know? Because when you see videos on YouTube, they don't talk about the front of the house. They don't talk about the hostess, the maitre d'. They don't talk about the server. They don't talk about the general manager. They always talk about the chef. They talk about the sous chef. They talk about the chef de cuisine.
Right.
They talk about because that's what interests people, right? The creativity aspect to it. And I believe that the reason why that's more respected is because of the public, of the way it changed the world, of the way culture is in food, how love is in food on a spiritual sense, even.
Right.
On how food can make someone happy, you get me? Not saying alcohol can, but people are just focused on food so much.
Yeah, you know, I've talked about this with other people too. Like, when we think about food, right, it's not just a form of sustenance. It's all of our life celebrations are centered around it, right? When we're celebrating a birthday, we go out to eat. When we celebrate a graduation or anniversary, like, where are we going to go eat, you know? And we're going to have something fancy or whatever, right? And the cocktails are always secondary, you know? Even though, like, you know, I'm going to have a good drink. I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to have like a, you know, like I want to go to a fancy place and get like a fancy cocktail. And then there's also that kind of like weirdness, because then I'll go to a place, like I went to a place in Hawaii, and God, what was that chef's name? I could picture his face. Anyways, a Japanese chef that was also an Iron Chef, and a fancy Japanese restaurant, fancy dining, fancy food, and the cocktails were marginal. And I was really disappointed because I went down there and we had the fanciest meals, and I looked at their cocktail menu and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
No, that's how it is in a lot of places. And it's funny because I had a guest come into my bar and they asked me, because I was telling them I want to go to LA and bartend. I feel that's my next step to get to that level, because they're speaking how like, why don't you go work at a steakhouse? Or why don't you go work at like a high end? And I was telling them, well, those type of places are more focused on food and hospitality. They don't really care.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, they don't care about the mixology. They don't care about. They just want to make. They want to make a blueberry sidecar,
right?
And then call it a day. They don't want to put any type of love and attention and patience into it, where food is.
You know, like all these high-end places, like their fancy drink is a lychee martini.
Yeah.
They're making a martini and pouring lychee juice in it, you know. And, you know, I'll drink it, but it's not the fancy crafted cocktail that I would expect, you know, which is disappointing, because if I'm going to go to a steakhouse or seafood, you know, have like a nice seafood dinner or a nice steak dinner, and I want to have a really good cocktail, the closest I'm really going to get is if I get an old-fashioned that's made properly. And even half the time they can't do that.
And the problem with that is because the bar, I'm going to segue into the bar has become so saturated with random ass cocktails. It's not anymore. So when you train a bartender, it's like, when I train people, I say the most important thing, you got to train the bartender well and efficient and with time. You know, it's hard because good teachers don't come by often, right? And when a restaurant is training bartenders, they're not training them how to do the classics correctly. And the classics, months and years and just years go by, and classic cocktails are slowly just going, the quality goes down because no one's teaching these bartenders the right way. But if it was in the back of the house, everyone's going to learn how to make pasta the right way. Everyone's going to learn how to make meatballs the right way. But for some reason, when you go to somewhere, the old-fashioned does not taste well.
Right. Do you think also that the whole bartending school thing is looked down upon because a bar wants you to be fresh? They don't want you to have like the wrong things already embedded in your head. Like you said, using sweet and sours and, muddling maraschino cherries.
For the old-fashioned?
Yeah.
So
I've seen old-fashions made with orange wheels and maraschino cherries muddled.
I don't even know that. I didn't even know that existed.
I've seen it. I've had it, but so do you think that's what it is? They just want you to come in fresh, like as a clean slate, and train you so that you're learning things the right way?
Yes, because, not everyone is going to be as lenient or open-minded, right? You're dealing with so many personalities, right? Their egos are involved, their heart's involved. And not a lot of people are going to want to... It's not going to be easy to... You can't teach someone the same way you teach someone else, right?
Right.
So it's better to train someone that worked within the restaurant. Because if someone told me they went to bartending school, I wouldn't hire them for that. Right. I would rather hire the food runner, the server that has some type of knowledge and has some type of know what they're doing, and I can train them properly. Not saying I'm not going to train the person that went to bartending school. It's just bartending school is so Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah,
it's just not high quality. And my goal is, I tell people I want to create a word, because I like mixologist, but I just feel like if there was a cool word like chef for the bar, I feel that creating that word is gonna be more respected, right? And
because that mixologist term is
I'm not the only one, right?
No, you're not the only one.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't.
It's a little overused, like, and it doesn't really hold, like, we know what it's supposed to be, but everyone's calling themselves mixologists.
Yes. The people who are on Instagram and they're putting like 5 citruses and just tequila and lime juice and calling it a drink. They have like 50,000 views.
Yeah.
And I just feel that I really want to create, one of my goals is to create a word like chef, but for the bar. And my goal is to elevate the bar to that level of that the drinks are, you can go somewhere at a high-end restaurant, not even a high-end, even like upscale casual, and still have one of the best drinks in town or in the city or in the state, because there's so many places where it's just not that anymore.
Right. So talking about create, I want to talk about your cocktails, because you created Lover's Rock for Tropical Shakedown, which is the first drink I've ever had from you, which is excellent. And I had all this backstory and everything in there. So let me ask you, not specifically about that drink, but just your cocktails in general. Tell me about your creative process. Like, how do you come up with a cocktail? And is it typically the same approach every time? Or, and if it's not, what are some of the approaches that you've done to come up with some of the drinks that you serve?
So I do have a base. So one of my secrets that I use in bartending, I do have a base ratio I use for certain drinks. Not for certain drinks, for a lot of wide range drinks, because a lot of bartenders do 3/4, 0.75 ounces, 0.75 ounces, and then 0.5 ounces. Those ratios.
Those are the golden ratio.
Yeah. But I use a different ratio. I never stick to that ratio, because my theory is...
That's the ratio I use. I'm not a bartender, but I use that ratio because for me, it's easier to remember, and it's almost foolproof.
Yeah.
You can almost come up with a good drink every time. But tell me yours. Is it a secret before you?
You see, you know what? I'm gonna drop the knowledge.
Oh, look out! Look out!
I'm not someone. At least they know who it came from.
Right.
And I want to inspire people. I want to teach people. You know, I would say this to someone that I was training. So why not tell you?
Make people better.
So when I do my margaritas, I do 1 ounce lime, 1 ounce agave, or 1.5 ounces of agave, and then I do 2 to 3/4, 0.5 or 0.75 the liqueur, and then 2 ounces of the spirit. Now a lot of bartenders are gonna do 1 ounce, 1 ounce. Not probably like 80 to 70% of them are not going to. I've only seen 2 bartenders do that, and so that's how I approach the cocktail. Right? If I'm making, you know, something on the whim, something fast, I'm busy, so they want something new. But my creative process is, say that I'm really trying to create something original. I start seeing what I like, and I start remembering what I've eaten from the day I was born to now.
Okay.
What I've tasted, what I smelled, even what I hold. Because, you know, who doesn't like kind of like a heavy glass, right?
Right.
So the process is just, you know, I'm going to tie it back into Lover's Rock, where that process took me about 5 to 6 months, because I was already creating a rum cocktail before the competition. But I was just creating something because I wanted to.
Right.
And then when I've been given the opportunity to do it, the creativity just started to seep in, because now I had a goal, right? It had to be tiki, and now I had the list of what it needed. It needed to be balanced. It needed to. So I really like when people tell me what they like, or like you give me like a bunch of puzzles. Mm-hmm. Like I'll make something for you. That's why I say I can make anything out of nothing, because, you know, I'll find a way to make that lime juice taste like something else, or I'll find a way to make that simple syrup or that pineapple to be roasted, to be charred, to be washed, to be a shrub, to be a botanical of some sorts. And I start seeing, in my head, I start seeing the color, the taste, the comparison, the opposites, for example. And then I just Google a lot of things. For example, when I Google what's the opposite of Fernet, because I love Fernet. I even have a tattoo of it on my bicep.
Oh, nice.
The opposite of Fernet is actually cinnamon. Cinnamon's the opposite of mint. Okay. And then if you're creating drinks, it's so easy we have technology nowadays, right? We don't have to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you Google things, you can just look, you can find ways to make your own things.
So I'm learning something new. All right.
And I learned off of that because I Googled it.
Right.
And, you know, that's how I make drinks. I'll do my research, what goes with what. For example, grapefruit goes excellent with salt. Okay. And I'm trying to create an old fashioned with grapefruit and salt right now. I'm still getting the kinks out of it. So I'll also find inspiration, and so that's the analytical side of it, right? I'm researching taste, smells. Now I start looking from within, and I love creating cocktails that are just crazy, absurd. You wouldn't find it anywhere else. Why would that go with that? I just like really extending that line of
thinking out of the box.
Yeah,
thinking out of the box, being like unorthodox, being different. Yeah. I respect that. So along that line, so let's think about the drinks that you like to enjoy yourself. So thinking about what you like to make and what you like to serve, is it the same as what you like to enjoy for yourself? Because for me, so when I make drinks, like when I have guests here, like, again, I'm not a bartender, so I like to keep it simple for myself. And as somebody that's a home bartender, I think I know more than the average person or the average home bartender, because I'm an enthusiast of cocktails, right? I'm not an alcoholic. But to me, a crafted cocktail, like a really well-crafted cocktail, is like walking into an ice cream shop. Like if you walk me into the Ghirardelli ice cream shop or Swenson's or something like that, I want to try all of them. They're all desserts to me, right? And it's not the booze, it's the balance. So I'm not someone that enjoys spirits per se. I'm someone that enjoys somebody that does something really creative and delicious with those spirits. I don't drink cocktails to get drunk. I drink cocktails for the enjoyment of the balance and the creativity, right? But as somebody that and that's why I like to say that I think I know more than the average person, because it's something that I just really, really enjoy. But as somebody that doesn't work in that field, when someone comes here and I make drinks for them, or if I'm at a party and I'm guest bartending, I just keep it simple. I use a golden ratio. I use the, equal parts tart and sweet, and then double that for the spirit, and make it as simple as I can, So what I like to make is completely different than what I like to enjoy. What about you?
I'm going to have to agree with you as well, because I'm the same way. I like making literally complicated drinks. I love making sours. I love sours. You can make anything a sour and the drink will be bomb. I like making sours, and I also like making a stirred drink.
Okay.
I love making something that is not a lot of citrus in it. I like working with a lot of liqueurs, learning how to bounce off of one another, and then having the spirit in there, because I feel when you stir a drink, you can still taste the spirit. My favorite types of drinks are spirit forward drinks, right? I don't mind a sweet drink. I don't mind tiki drinks. I don't mind, other drinks. But what I love making is sours, mezcal sour, a gin sour, a whiskey sour. Okay. Even my tiki drink, Lover's Rock, it has egg white in it. Right. Is it a traditional sour? No, but there's egg white in it to give it that fluff.
I never pegged it as a sour.
Yeah.
Lover's Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tiki drink.
It is.
Yeah, that's a tropical.
And that's why I don't really call it a sour, even though there's egg white in it. But I just love making sours, and then I love making stirred drinks, right? I love drinking old fashions. Okay. So
I love stirred drinks too, again, as long as they're balanced. Yeah. I love going to a new bar that has some really creative drinks. I get so excited because, like I said, it's like walking into a candy shop for me. It's not the booze. It's not about getting drunk. To me, it's about like, oh man, like when you get a good guy behind the stick that really knows his stuff, knows his spirits, knows how to balance things out, knows how to make something that's so balanced that there's no one thing that's like, everything works in harmony. I just love that. It's like a beautiful song, or a beautiful sunset. I know it sounds like super tacky. I know people are like listening to this and they're like, yeah, whatever, but really that's what it is. I imagine going to a 5-star restaurant and just having this beautifully made gourmet meal. Like every course complements the next, and every course complements the previous. And then when you walk out of there, you're not like, you don't have this food coma. You don't feel like, all bogged down with the rock in your stomach, or you don't have this paste in your mouth from something that was overly sweet for dessert. Like you walk out of there just having this kind of feeling of like satisfaction, and just, it's kind of blissful, and that to me, like a really great cocktail does that for me. I know it sounds super tacky, and pretentious, but I don't know, man. Like I've had a lot of bad drinks, and I'm also at a point in my life where, like, I believe my palate has evolved enough to know what I like, what I don't like, and if someone's faking it, because I've had those, like I said, sometimes if I'm at a fancy place, the closest I'll get to a matching cocktail is an old fashioned, and even then they can't make it right.
No, and it's sad because, you're at this place, the place is dope, the food's bomb, the service is great, but when you get that drink, the margarita just sucks. There's no lime juice, or there's like no simple syrup. It's because I really think because there's no love in it. There's no love behind it anymore.
Passion.
Yeah, and talking about the food, when people are making the food, there's more people who cook. There's more passion behind it. But I've noticed that also when people go into bartending, you were asking like, why is that? I believe in the earlier ago or a few moments ago, you were asking, you still don't know why. I think because sometimes when people become bartenders, they're just looking at it from not a creative standpoint. They're just looking at it as making money, or they're just looking at it as, the highest position, I guess, in the front of the house,
right?
Or the best or easiest position. They're not looking at it wanting to create. They're not looking at it to make their own drinks, their own bomb drinks. There's no, like you said, there's no passion behind it.
No passion, yeah. All right, so moving forward, I want to tell people a little bit more about you, right? Okay. So we're talking about cocktails. We're talking about what we like to drink, what we like to make, and our backgrounds in that, right? And your background as well. But there's more to you, man. You got a bunch of layers that I learned about.
Yeah.
That I think our listeners would find interesting. So when you won Tropical Shakedown,
yes,
you got this giant medallion.
I did, right? Yes.
It's like the size of a dinner plate.
I know. Right? I eat off of it every night.
Dinner plate hanging around your neck with a giant gold chain, which I thought was kind of cool. And when I took photos of you with it, you held your fist up.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's lead in with that. Let's tell people, like, what is it about you that most people probably wouldn't know?
So I do martial arts. I do karate, jiu-jitsu, and then I barely started doing Muay Thai.
Okay.
And I did the fist up because that's what you do.
That's how you do. Yeah. That's how you pose when you win a match or something.
You do
right?
Even when you take pictures with people, or you do it before the fight.
Right. That's just the signature pose.
That's just the thing you do. And I started actually competing in tournaments before I did bartending tournaments.
Okay.
So I already had experience in fighting and fighting grown men. I already had experience in high pressure situations and being in a contest with other people who are competitive, right? And I also have experience in losing and in winning. And I actually won a Long Beach karate tournament a year ago.
Okay. And
all that really taught me how to bring it into the bar, because you gotta be relaxed. You really, when you're in those type of situations,
pressure and all that stuff. I remember interviewing you before the competition, and I said, "It's go time, bro. Are you stressed?" Or I can't remember the word that did you feel the pressure, and you just brushed it off. You're like, no, I'm cool, man. It's gonna be good.
No,
it's in the video. Like if you watch it in the video, I forgot what you said, but you were like, no. We're like, it's all good. We got this,
No, and it's I'm mentally prepared for the competition. I was telling my business partner, who is also one of my really good friends, Edwin Sanchez. We're actually creating a platform, but I was telling him, we're very confident in ourselves. And when we made the cocktail, I already told him we already won. The night before, I was already practicing what I was gonna say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Check it out.
And
I love it. So this is part of manifestation, right? Manifesting what you want. You have to envision yourself winning.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta think that way, because if you envision yourself losing and you're preparing for defeat, you're never gonna be victorious. Right? You're always gonna have that mindset. So that's pretty cool. I love that.
But yeah, the martial arts it also helps me in my personal life. It helps me stay in shape. It helps me stay healthy. It helps me it helps me so much in bartending. When I have 20 tickets flying, the servers are in my ear, the managers are in my ear, everyone's just, a guest is complaining because something was too spicy. I'm kind of always like, I'm calm, right? I'm always like, what do you guys need? I got this. We need ice. If my other bartender needs help, I'll start bar backing. If the server needs help, I'll bust their tables. I'll go make the drink, The fighting just helped me so much. And with life and just being able to control myself, my emotions and stuff like that, because when you fight, you lose because you're in your head. I love Mike Tyson, so I draw a lot of inspiration from him. His mentor, Customato, would always tell him that fighting is about 60 to 80% of your your brain, of your head,
Right,
of thinking.
right.
So with that concept, I took it into the bar competition. I take that when I make drinks, you know. I take that when there's pressure. I'm able to smooth myself out and just really do my thing. And I love bartending, right? I feel when I actually, so I have a funny story. Well, not funny. It's kind of like a weird story. At the competition, I was telling my friend after the few days passed, I was telling him, when I was working behind the bar, I really felt present. No thought.
Oh, that's good.
I felt like I felt like I had an out of body
Like during the
experience.
competition.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt weird. I felt like I owned the bar.
Oh yeah. That's part of that manifestation. Like you put yourself there. You put yourself in that moment, you know, like, yeah, this is mine. This is my competition to win. This is mine. Yeah, I'm taking home that medallion. That big ass dinner plate.
Right? It was so weird because it didn't hit me till a few days later that I won. And you know, I was really thankful for the fighting, and then, you know, also to my dad and my mom who've helped me with so much in learning the industry and even with life. Yeah. And my dad. So I'm first generation. So my dad's from La Ciudad de Mexico.
Okay.
And my mom's from Honduras.
Okay.
And they both started in the industry. And then my dad was just telling me, like, you got this. Like, don't stress about it. Like, you already competed and you've already fought like 10 people. Like this was like cakewalk because I don't have to fight anybody.
Yeah.
Like not having to fight anyone is a dream.
Yeah.
It's like I get all I have to do is make drinks. Okay, that's fine.
I always looked at people that fought for a living as, man, what a way to earn a living, man. Like I'll see some dude just get the shit kicked out of him, and he comes over after and he's talking to a reporter, you know, like puffy eyes and, lips swollen,
fucking blood out his scalp.
And I'll think like, God, what a shitty way to make a living, you know. But then, you know, this guy that just got his ass kicked. Yeah. So what, man? He's a bad motherfucker, man. He'll kick my ass, you know. And he'll kick most people's asses, right?
And they love it. And a UFC fighter, Dustin Poirier, he once said that, you know, he wouldn't wish that career on his worst enemy because it really is like that.
It's hard, and it's not even just the fighting and taking licks and all that kind of stuff. It's even the training. You know, I mean, the training in itself is so hard.
The regimen, the diet,
the dieting, like all of that stuff. If you had to earn a living just with that, just being the rigorousness of just the training, most people would fail. Mm-hmm. And then add the fighting to that, right? Because that's only one component of being a fighter is the training. Then you add all of the fighting to that. And like, man, what a hard way to earn some money. And so I get it, man. Like if you're competing, like, oh, all I have to do is make a drink.
No, I mean, look, I'm not saying I'm a good fighter. Look, I'm not.
No, I'm not saying you're good or bad. I'm just saying, like, I get that perspective when you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to throw blows. I don't have to throw. Like, I just have to make a drink.
No, and it's funny because even when I'm rolling, because I'm still a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Like I'm not my highest belt is in karate, and you know I've even gotten my first like armband in Muay Thai because I missed the training due to like because I went to Mexico for cocktails and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, like not having to be in that high pressure. It's true what they say. If you're in an uncomfortable situation, once you're in another situation, you're able to just kill it.
Right.
You're just able to do your own thing because you've already been somewhere so much worse, right? And that just also just helps me with everything.
Yeah.
And even with my creativity because I try not to think so much because I'm thinking all the time.
Right.
And I love the bar because I'm just so like present. I'm not thinking, I'm just doing. I'm just tasting.
Yeah.
And with my roots from Mexico, Honduras, I have such a wide background with spices and foods and taste, and also being from Long Beach and then having like African American homies and Indian homies and Asian homies. They have like all other foods that I could try and taste, and I'm like, damn, that's being able to bring that into the bar is awesome.
That's a hell of a flavor palette to work with too, right?
Yeah,
you can do so much, right? Looking at all the different cultures and making something from that, it's like you have the world at your fingertips, you know, as a craft bartender. So, love that. All right, so let's do some fun questions.
Let's do it.
I like to finish the
I'm
podcast with some kind of like unorthodox questions. You know, people go in these interviews and they're always asked about their career, and they're always asked about their backgrounds and their training and all that kind of stuff. But I interview some people that always expect those kind of questions. Like when I interviewed Ed Hamilton, he always gets wrong questions. And I threw him a bunch of these questions, and he was like, oh, this is fun. So let's start with, I always start with the superpower question.
Superpower, okay.
If you could choose to have any superpower, what would that be? So just to help you think creatively,
okay,
I'm going to give you a couple of examples.
Okay.
Here are some of mine.
Okay.
Number one, I'd love to be able to teleport.
Okay.
So if I want to have dinner in Hawaii, I can go and have dinner in Hawaii and then come back here and, you know, be back in my house after a nice dinner. Or if I want to go to a specific place or event or whatever for the weekend, I could do that, not have to get an expensive plane ticket and sit in a herd of people to get onto a plane and take a 10-hour flight somewhere. So teleporting is one. I have 4 cats. I'd love to be able to communicate with them because sometimes they do some weird shit, you know. And I'd love to be able to ask them, "Why are you doing this? Why are you messing with your sister? Why are you doing? Why'd you crap on the rug?" You know. I'd love to be able to communicate with my pets. And another one I'd really like is to eat whatever I want without getting fat, because that's a problem.
that superpower would be phenomenal. Right? I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty good power.
I love flavor, right? We talked about that I love these cocktails because they're like desserts to me.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate byproduct of drinking everything in the menu is there's 2 things. You're going to gain weight and you're going to get drunk. And I don't want to drink and drive, you know. I you know, at my age I don't like getting drunk anymore. I actually just enjoy the flavor of the drink. The unfortunate thing about being able to eat whatever I want, because I have a sweet tooth and I love desserts and all that kind of stuff, is I get fat. So I want to be able to eat whatever I want without getting fat. So those are some 3 examples of my superpowers. What would you like?
So if I could have a superpower, right? I don't know if I'm in a world of other people with powers or I'm in a world.
Oh, that's a great question. No one's ever asked me that.
Because I don't. Are we in a world of people with powers, or am I the only one?
You're the only one.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then it wouldn't be a superpower if everybody else had powers. Right.
Okay, let me think about this. Okay, so if I had one power, it would be to absorb skills from other people, to mimic, not.
Oh, that's a great one.
You get me?
That's a great one.
And for example, if you've seen Heroes, I believe his name's Peter.
Yeah.
Peter, he's able to absorb other people's powers.
That's a great one. So, for example, with having you here and you making these awesome drinks, I just watch you and then now I can make awesome drinks.
You would imagine that you can go somewhere and you like shake Michael Phelps' hand and you can swim like Michael Phelps.
Right.
Or, you know, you meet a chef, the best chef in the world, and boom, like that, you become the best chef in the world. Or, you know, architect.
I have an expensive car repair. I just like go meet a mechanic.
Yeah,
and then I can fix it myself.
It's life's cheat code.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And then it would also work with animals.
Yeah.
You know, you touch a cat, you can start thinking like a cat. You can talk to the cat.
Right.
So it's kind of like this unlimited thing you can do. You know, you touch a tree, you can talk to the trees.
Love that. All right, let's do another question. Question number 2. If you could choose to spend time, if you could spend time with anyone dead or alive, real or fictitious, who would you choose? So I'll throw out a couple examples again, just to help you think out of the box. I think it'd be fun to time travel with Marty McFly.
Okay.
Fictitious. I think it would be fun to smoke ganja with Bob Marley.
Okay.
Train with Bruce Lee.
Okay.
I'd love to meet like one of my relatives that has passed, like a 10th great grandfather or something. I'd love to spend a day with that person, or even my dad who died like a dozen years ago. I'd love to spend another day with him. Let's see. Let me think of someone real. Someone real. Maybe I'd love to go on a food tour with Gordon Ramsay.
Okay.
I think Anthony Bourdain would have actually been fun too.
No, him. I was gonna say him, but I'm not gonna say him anymore because you already said him.
Did I take that from you?
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
fine. It's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I'll think about someone
You could
else.
say the same thing. We could agree on that, right?
That is true. Yes.
Yeah.
But let me know when.
I'm done. I was just throwing out like
I got
so
you.
I've asked this question 100 times, and so I've heard 100 answers, and I always think about it. I can think about. I mean, again and again and again. I keep bringing names up.
Okay.
You know? So what about you?
Fact or fictitious?
Real or fictitious? Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Ditch Day with Ferris Bueller would be fun.
This is a little hard one. Okay, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do fact and real, and then fake. So real, that's past Anthony Bourdain.
Okay.
Just because I really liked his open-mindedness and the way that he was such a rebel. He was someone that just been around the world.
You know what I liked about Anthony Bourdain? He was one of us.
Yeah.
He wasn't some unreachable celebrity chef or some guy that was like, you know, that was on a pedestal. He was just a dude that, like, you know, he was like you and me, right? He was a guy that worked in the kitchen. He wasn't some celebrated celebrity chef. And he got to where he was somehow, hung out at the same bars I hung out at. You know, like if you watch the show, he went to tiki bars and he went to holes in the walls. He wasn't like at some 5-star. He was just another blue collar dude, you know. So that's one of the things I liked about him. Oh, here's a present one. I'd love to spend a day or like do a food tour with Roy Choi.
Okay.
I don't know why I want to meet that. I want to meet that guy so bad.
I don't know who that is.
If any of our listeners could make that happen, Roy Choi, he was the guy who started the Kogi truck, the Kogi food truck.
Okay.
So, yeah, he owns a bunch of restaurants like here in LA and one in Vegas, and I've been to all of them, like hoping to bump into him. I haven't seen him, so.
Oh, someone that I will. Okay, someone that I have one more.
All right.
Okay, so one of my favorite artists of all time is Juan Gabriel.
Okay.
So
I don't know who that is.
He's a famous Mexican singer.
Okay.
He passed a few years ago, but I love his music, and I would love to like have dinner with him, talk to him, and really just get to know him and see the inspiration.
He's a singer.
Yeah, he's a singer, and he's very famous in Mexico.
Sing karaoke with him.
See, you already know. I mean, it's not gonna be as good, but I can hit some notes.
No, man, it's the quality of the hang, dude.
Shit.
Yeah, right?
Right?
He's a singer, right? You just go sing karaoke with him. All right, so you had those are two, Anthony Bourdain and Juan Gabriel?
And then I would do one more. I forgot. I literally forgot his name right now. Probably Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, go train with him, go on a run with him.
All right. Okay.
Spar with him, even though he'll send me flying. One thing about me is I'm not scared, like, to train. I love training.
All right.
I love the sweat. I love the push-ups. I love the hitting the bag. I love the grunting, the how hard it is to do the workout. I would love to train with him because he was someone that really fought for what he believed in.
What about, yeah, you're right. That's why he changed his name.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, you said you like Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
What about Mike Tyson? Would you like to train with him?
Oh,
Or Cuss?
Cuss, actually.
You'd rather train with Cuss than Mike?
I would, yeah, because Mike Tyson even talks about it of how Cuss just changed his life.
Yeah.
And Cus D'Amato really had this weird way of thinking that he really made him what he was in the ring, and I would love to see that type of guidance and advice I would get from him. What
are your thoughts about Freddie Roach?
I would train with him too. When I see videos of him and Freddie Roach, Teddy Atlas, I believe their training is, I forgot who said it, but they said that anyone can be a fighter, but no one can be a teacher.
Yeah.
And then just seeing those guys teach after even so long is dope.
Freddie Roach trained so many champions. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So should we keep going?
Yeah, we can keep going all night.
Let's keep another question. Let's do 2 more questions.
Okay.
So let's say if you could travel anywhere in time, when would you go? So these are my answers.
Okay.
I'd love to be there on the opening day of Don the Beachcomber.
Okay.
The guy who started the Tiki Bar, right? I'd love to be there. I'd love to be at the bar when Trader Vic invented the Mai Tai.
Okay.
I'd like to see how that happened, see if the story is true or if it's bullshit.
Okay.
I'd love to be at opening day at the Tiki Tea, be at the bar when Ray made his Ray's Mistake for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more, right? There's so many things in history. One of the guys in Los Pacalolos just said he'd love to be there when his parents met.
Mm-hmm.
He'd love to see how that happened.
Yeah.
That's wow. I thought that's kind of deep, So what about you? Like, if you could travel anywhere in time.
Anywhere in time. And I can go anywhere?
Anywhere in time.
Anywhere in the world at a specific time?
Yeah, to any place or any event. Thrilla in Manila. Since you're a fighter.
If I can go back anywhere in time, I would really...
Or not even back. You could go to the future. You could see. You want to see yourself in 20 years,
I feel like it would freak me out because I feel like it would mess up the future if I went into the future. You get me? So over here getting like serious. If I can go back in time, I'm gonna go back in time because I low-key don't want to go to the future. So if we're going back in time, I would probably go back in time and meet my dad when he was young in Mexico.
Yeah. Okay.
And just see how he is, and because I love my dad. My dad is my biggest inspiration. He motivates me every day, and I would just love to see how he was when he was young and just hang out with him without him knowing I'm his son.
Okay. Yeah. So, the movie Back to the Future.
Yes, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, just because the guy who wrote the screenplay said that he stumbled across a photo of his dad's yearbook, his dad and his dad's yearbook. And he thought, oh, my dad was the class president. I wonder if I would have been friends with him, knowing that. It actually made him wonder, would we hang out? And then it posed that question to me. I thought, would I hang out with my dad if I were his age? And I think I would have. I think just my dad was an alcoholic.
Okay.
But if I was young with him, I probably would have gotten drunk with him all the time. I probably would have,
Okay.
He used to play pool and all that kind of stuff, He said when he was young, he hated going to school. He'd go to the pool hall and he would play pool and drink with his buddies. And I thought, that's something that I would probably do too. So, all right. So let's do one more question. Last question. If you could choose someone to play you in a movie, anyone.
That was a pretty good question. I haven't heard that one.
Play you a story about your life. Who would you choose?
Danny DeVito. No, I'm playing.
J-Lo. It could be J-Lo.
It was funny because who doesn't love Danny DeVito? No,
right.
okay,
Love Danny DeVito. It could be Arnold.
Run to the chopper. Well, I butchered that line.
I don't know the exact line.
He's like, get back
go
to the chopper.
Run. The chopper.
Get back.
It's not a tumor.
Get out of here. So if anyone can play me in a movie, that's hilarious though. If anyone can play me in a movie,
Jackie Chan.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling,
he's
I love
the
it.
opposite of me.
I love it.
Imagine him just with a wig, tall.
Well, he doesn't have to wear a wig. I mean, he could just be. So this question comes from a scene at the end of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. Did you see that movie?
No, but I know who Pee Wee Herman is.
So he's this nerdy, man-child, right? And at the end of his movie, Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure, there's a scene where, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen this yet, then that's on you. That's not on me.
It's a pretty old movie.
Right, it's an old movie. Yeah. So there's a scene where this whole adventure was made into a movie. And I forgot who it was that played him in the movie, but it was like some sex symbol, like a Tom Selleck type. Okay. So I always say, you know, like my listeners are tired of hearing this. They don't think it's funny anymore. But I always say I'd pick The Rock to play me in a movie.
Okay, I think that's hilarious.
The Rock?
I think that's hilarious.
I always joke that like we're twins, right?
So with the Hawaiian shirt?
Right. Well, yeah, he's like a buff, bald version of me, right? A buff, tall, fit, lean, charismatic. So
when we meet in our
version
movie,
of me,
when we meet, it's gonna be Rock and the Ryan Gosling. The Rock's gonna be chasing Ryan Gosling's drink. We can make it happen.
That's right. We
can make it happen.
We got to tag them in the comments so that we can get their attention.
I think they'll do it next year, coming soon.
We have to manifest that. We got to make that one happen.
We do.
Yeah, I love it. Well, shall we have some drinks?
Of course. I am ready.
And so for all of our listeners out there, we are about to record some stuff for the YouTube. So if you enjoyed this episode, stay tuned. We're going to put a link in the description for the YouTube. Or check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PolynesianPop. Before I start wrapping all of this up, let's tell our listeners how they can follow you. Anything that you want to tell them about, if you've got something that you want to promote, or if you want to talk about where you are bartending so that they can come in and try your drinks, anything like that, we can shout them out too. Let's throw all your stuff out there.
Sounds good. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
If you'd like to follow me, my Instagram is _manofthehour__. And I also work at The Socialist on 4th and Cherry.
That's The Social List.
Yeah, The Socialist. Yeah.
The Social List. 2 words. 2 words.
Three words? The Socialist?
Socialist.
Socialist is 2 words, yeah. So, and I work in Long Beach, California. So that's where I reside, and that's where I work at. If you want to come in and drink, I can make you anything. We also have a new bar, so I can make tiki drinks now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And we're a whiskey bar too. So
I still gotta find my way in there. I know I haven't been in there yet, so I apologize.
No, you're fine. Whenever you come in, I
gotta get in there and check out the bar and the cocktails and all that kind of stuff. I met your manager at the Tropical Shakedown competition.
Yes.
He was so happy for you, man.
Yeah. I feel like everyone, my homies got more drunk than me.
Dude, you brought your crew, man. Yeah, everybody was excited. You were all calm and cool, and they were jumping for joy.
I was like, bro, relax. It's not the first one.
I love it. But
no, and I just want to shout out the people that helped me. Edwin Sanchez. I know you're gonna hear this. Jerry, Chris, Monica, my dad and my mom, and then just Angel, Andres, everyone that went there and supported me. I want to shout them out. I want to shout out my bosses at The Socialist, Diana. She's a great boss. And, I just want to shout out my newest platform that I'm actually going to create by next year. My business partner, Edwin, and I are creating a artist platform called Ethos and Soul.
Oh, love it.
And we're going to be doing events and that type of jazz.
Okay, so if you give me all that information, I'll put it in the description below. Okay. So that everybody can just click on that. And so we're going to do some YouTube stuff now. So again, if you guys want to check out the YouTube, check out youtube.com/PolynesianPop. If you want to help support the channel, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/PolynesianPop. And we're going to wrap this one up for now. But until the next time, thanks again, Sonny.
Sorry, and I forgot to shout out my friend Ty. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, shout out. Anybody else? Let's make sure we don't miss anybody.
Nah, I think we're good. We're good.
All right. So here we go. We're going into cocktails. Until the next time, cheers and aloha, everyone.